here we are. And to my knowledge, Viper Sebastian played this series pretty much as the Yo Dark series was happening. And we have a banger on our hands. I felt, based on the performances in the group stage, Sebastian should be the favorite here today. But that's crazy to think about when I think back to the first season of TTL, where Sebastian, or the first time Sebastian ever made Platinum, he was actually in Viper's group, ended up being relegated. And I remember a series they played where Sebastian was so close nearly, but he just lacked the edge to stick with someone like the Viper. But oh, how things have changed, man. Now we come in here, and with how good Sebastian's played, I feel as though we know what level he's going to see. And with Viper these days, it's either elite level Viper or it's a little bit shaky.
Yeah, it feels like elite level Viper is something we can see on the big tournaments, right? He was there on point on Red Bull for LAN events where he has the time to train. For TTL here, just being the dad, I wouldn't be surprised if Sebastian played 3 times the game of the Viper over the last 12 months.
Yep, 100%. And it also, you're definitely right. I expected Viper to be somewhat off his game for the first series or two this season because he is the new dad and all the factors surrounding that. But what was weird to me was Series 3, Series 4 stepped it up big time. So I'm like, okay, he's back. And then Series 5 lost 2-1 to freaking Andy, which at least on paper you wouldn't have expected. Now, Andy played like a god, and I hate to take away from that, but Viper on his day could beat anybody in the world.
Yeah, it felt wrong after the set that Andy is actually 4th in the group. Yeah, great for him. Another season in Platinum League, but after the set you felt like, okay, I want to see this guy in the playoffs as well.
So we talked about it before. There was 2 instances where I saw Italians played in the group stage, in all of the group stage, and it was both by Hera, and I was very surprised when it was picked because I felt as though there's some minor bonuses that could work for the Italians, but usually I would have expected this on more a heavy water dominant map. It is cheaper to age up. There is cheaper for fishing ships. Both of those bonuses Sebastian will use here. But Viper goes for the more common pick in the Japanese.
Yeah, more HP on those fishing ships, a bit more efficiency there. And it just feels like more mobility in Castle Age, right? With the option to go for CA, just feels like the more natural pick.
So I'm starting to think about this now because I know players will train with a variety of different opponents, but usually you're not going to train with somebody who you're going to run into in the quarters. So I saw Hera do it in the group stage. I kind of doubt, because the winner here would play up against Hera, that there was any Sebastian Hera training. And then I guess maybe we'll see. We'll see if he plays it the same way, but you had called out the draft that Sebastian had 3 civilizations, which are typically on water maps, and we were wondering where one of those civs was going to be, and this answers that question.
So now we kind of know all civilizations there, unless there's some crazy surprises, but civilizations kind of shaping up there, and well, this will be a pretty interesting one. Tristan, did I ask you about your prediction?
Well, actually, did you went for the classic Nilly and you said it could technically
I will
be everything.
say 3-2 Sebastian.
Okay, well, I feel like I should say 3-2 the Viper. I feel like that's what I should say, but listen, I'd love for Viper to prove me wrong, but my heart's a 3-1 Sebastian here today. A 3, maybe a 3-2 with Viper's home maps. It feels like a series that Sebastian can take. And
Yeah.
I gotta go solely based on how they played, but it is delivering in group stage is very different than delivering in the playoffs against Viper.
What do you think about motivation? When they both know, okay, even if I win the set, Hera is waiting in the next round. Do you think anyone is more motivated? Or in my world, someone might even think, well, I can only win 1 set and then my tournament ends anyways, and motivation might be lacking a bit.
I think if it was the winner of Nikov and MBL going up against Hera, I think that mindset is there. But I think the winner of Sebastian Viper will not have that. Now, in recent times, I think Viper's had some struggles with his consistency, but also running into Hera, so there may be some doubt creeping in. Sebastian's at this point of the career where I think the sky's the limit. And his playstyle is very good against Hera. So I think these two are so elite. Like you said, it feels wrong that one of these two is going to be out of the tournament after this.
Gets a turkey.
That was really well played from Viper, actually. It could have been way worse. Sebastian lamed like 5 turkeys underneath the TC in his previous set. And Viper took a bit of HP off there, so I think he'll be happy.
Both adding 1 fire galley, both on gold minimally. No military commitment from the Viper yet. Sebastian is going for the archer range. 4 on gold, will open them with archers.
So by the way, when Hera did play Italians, it was the exact same opening for what it's worth. It was fires, and it was archers, and then adapted from there. Viper bringing spears to the middle, which is a common move, because the spears can disrupt the ships if they get close. And it just makes it more difficult for Sebastian to micro right now.
Extra damage, the only military building that he has anyways. Adds quite a lot, and Viper should be winning water with the addition of the Spearman.
So I know what the build was potentially going to be, the only other time Italians have been played. But do you think Viper watched every game? I know he didn't cast every game. I do wonder if in the back of his mind he's expecting the same build. He hasn't scouted Sebastian yet, which is why I bring it up.
I don't know. I don't know how actively he's following this. I know that if this was still going on, he would try to rewatch most of the games of the players that he's playing against. But watching quote-unquote random group stage games actually would surprise me.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I'm not surprised at what Sebastian has brought to the table here. This is absolutely dominant in the middle. He's killed every spear. He hasn't lost his Vil. Oh god! Oh man! There's gonna be a demo and Viper. Viper turns it around with a masterpiece. Oh, Sebastian.
That was brutal. Did not anticipate the demo coming out there. Now the blacksmith wants to go with fletching for his archers. A bit surprised how few deer he is taking. Expanding towards the bottom now.
Viper sees its archers, by the way, and Viper also killed Sebastian's scout. It's crazy how quickly things can turn around. He killed the villager, he killed the scout, and now Viper's got some momentum to work with against Sebastian, and it's only 2 archers he has to deal with. I think he had enough time. He'll have a skirm and an archer of his own at home. I don't think Viper's really in trouble on land right now.
Yeah, but won't have a lot of map control, right? He has a scout, as you mentioned, but he will need to defend first. And then the question, second archer range stable, or is he trying to squeeze in a fast castle age?
Yeah, there's a lot of options here. I like how it's a mix of walls and army from both. I think at this level, with their abilities, you have to respect that the opponent can be active, and so you need to play defensive. But there's simply too much to wall and not have your own army in combination. So good balance from both. You'll see Viper and Sebastian slowly starting to wall, but they didn't cut army production as well.
Yeah, if you want to skip army, you need to wall really small, something that we typically call potato walls. Like MBL is really famous for it, but not an option on this map with the wood lines being so small and so far away.
Viper doesn't have fletching yet, loses an archer. He did not have tracking of where Sebastian was, and the archers are here. That's not the end of the world for Viper, but another just moment in the game where Sebastian's hit Viper with the timings, and Viper will have to adapt, and this is where things could start to get dangerous. There's also a stable at home from Sebastian. He knows that this would force Viper into skirms, and so he already has the scout follow-up coming in.
It's an archer there in the middle. Yeah, Viper, he did not see the stable, right? Can he maybe see it? Oh, that's getting tight.
Yeah, armor isn't in yet, so armor is a little late on the skirms. Viper's scout goes down, and if Viper overextends here, he could lose a lot. The pathing doesn't help. It's a very awkward map to move around in, but this scout follow-up is going to be really good, I think, for Sebastian.
Viper realizes, okay, I'm a bit far out there. If he loses that one archer, the scout can do all the clear up here.
Yeah, and Sebastian on to the skirms. Viper now needs spears. Now Viper needs archers. He will dive through. There is a spearman on the way, and Sebastian micros away perfectly.
Okay. No losses there. It's like Sebastian is controlling the game. Viper is continuing his walls here, but still the front is not secured. Now it's the second range.
I gotta say, Sebastian is so fixated on these fights. He's got a pretty horrible situation. Look at his lumber camp. This could be brutal. If he doesn't notice that, like if he's focused on his armies getting damage, that is an issue. And I think he did notice. But he needs a new lumber camp right now.
Yeah, a bit overwhelmed there with the macro. Had a lot of archers in the queue, canceled like 4 or 5 at one point. Also 6 villagers in the queue right now.
Yep.
But he's doing the damage at the front.
Yep, Viper getting the quick walls down. And just in the nick of time there, Viper gets those walls. Could have been horrible for him. But then again, it's only 2 scouts. And I really like how Viper's adapted to this. Viper's eco, I think, is superior now. He's got more farming eco. He's got a lot on the berries. His wood eco is much more balanced. He's got the gold at pretty much the perfect number. And that stable switch was not too threatening in the end for Viper at all here.
2 farms against soon 8 farms. Just really shows you how well the Viper is transitioning here. Yeah, you can still get some deer here for Sebastian, but do you even squeeze in the farm upgrades here? I wouldn't mind it. He's dropping 10 farms within the next 3 minutes.
Yeah, I would like it. I would definitely want to do that. I'm gonna credit Viper for something here. I think you could so easily think that it's not worth trying to spend resources to kill opponents' fish because there's so little left. And I understand that argument, but I think there's strong arguments to be made that Sebastian, because he had to constantly make more ships and micro there, he wasn't able to get through before Viper walled. It was just so much. It was one more thing that Sebastian had to do. And I don't know if that's true or not, but at least in my case, Nilly, that extra level of multitasking would slow me down a little bit.
Yeah, and it's not only about fish, right? It's about map control. It's about more vision and simply another path that you can cross and that you don't have to be afraid of running into another demo.
I'm really surprised that Sebastian didn't add any farms here. I mean, this is so little on food at the moment. A lot on wood and a lot on gold, but Viper's coming with army. Sebastian also has an army, but it's not at home to defend from this.
I think he's rushing ballistics behind this, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, his eco setup is for nothing. He needs to buy food now? He sold the stone, no extra TCs? This is so weird.
He wants a TC. He wanted a TC down there. He doesn't have the timings. Viper is here. Viper with crossbow. Viper with bodkin. Viper with 2 villager picks. And look at the wood for Sebastian. The wood line that he's taking is on the front. It's very similar for Viper, but Viper understands that if Sebastian's army isn't at home, it has to be coming to his base right now.
Yeah, he needs to be aware. He has some crossbows in the back, but moves them a bit further forward. Is going for the skirmishers, which should be really nice against this, but it should be ballistics against no ballistics.
Yep, absolutely. So, I mean, ballistics is coming in. Sebastian will know he needs the damage because of how awkward things are for him at home. I like the follow-up house walls and the wood line. Also, a really good situation to have a market because the balance is absolutely horrible. But I like Viper's current eco situation. It's messy, but skirm, crossbow, farms, lumber camps could be decent.
Still only 2 on food for Sebastian. Idle TC will be pretty bad soon. And those houses won't grab. Viper's still finding the damage, although he's not in the base.
Yeah, I love the game sense from Viper to know where Sebastian would be. He does take some losses on his wood line. He doesn't have a market of his own, so I think he should be able to snag ballistics before that, but eventually might need one with how many with how many vills are going to be moving all around the map. Excuse me.
Is there a reasonable argument to switch into CA if you're the Viper now? That would be really good.
I think if you clear up the crossbows, yes. Skirm feels like your primary unit of choice, but that definitely feels like a good long term. And Sebastian hanging in there. TC number 2 coming up before the Viper. Man, what a close game. What a close game.
That TC is so needed. But honestly, is it protecting that much wood? You will need to expand. This isn't protecting too much. I wouldn't have minded to see it being a bit deeper into the wood line.
Kind of a tiny detail here. Viper's skirms are quite weak on the front. So yes, he's armored, but if Sebastian takes engagements against that there, it's not too bad. In the north, though, Sebastian's kind of locked down by Viper skirms. And yeah, I like see what you're saying about the TC. But I think my bigger issue for Sebastian is he wanted to push the timings with crossbow. He has had nothing on food. And he needs to fix that here.
But he didn't fall that far behind. Viper, he lost some builds himself. And I'm a bit surprised. Why are builds so even? 45 to 47.
Yeah, guess idle TC for Viper. It isn't that high, and maybe it's because he didn't get wheelbarrow either. I'm trying to do the math on it, but I really like Viper's position. This is the Viper you wanted to see today. This has been super high level. Like, there's been so much army activity. Both players relatively even in the engagements, but Viper has skirms at least, and the crossbows from Sebastian probably can't move forward now.
Siege workshop for the defense here for Sebastian. Feels like, okay, I can't really deal with this unless I go for skirms, but I only had 2 on food, so skirm transition is not really an option. Therefore, Mangonel feels very reasonable. Viper thinks, Mangonel, good idea. I will build one myself.
Yep, immediate from Viper. The level's just insanely high. This level, to me, feels top 5. But there's obviously... It's really hard to say that, at least as far as Titans League's concerned. That hasn't been the case, and Viper gets hit. That was a much bigger shot than the kills will suggest. Most of that army for Viper's halfway dead.
Yeah, I hope there's no shots coming right now. I think audio is still not perfect, so I think I will reduce myself a bit more in Discord.
It hasn't changed for me.
Try to increase the gain.
We could maybe join a voice channel as well, Nilly. Are you able to hear me now, or...?
I can hear you perfectly fine. Yeah.
Okay. We'll plan to join a voice channel after this. Maybe the quality will be a bit different. I think it's manageable. Viper manages to get out on the left side, and he also gets away with the cav archers, but wondering how the micro is going to be here. This has been an amazing job from Sebastian to manage his eco, but the comp of 3 mangonels and 22 crossbows could be pretty even against Vipers, soon 2 mangonels and mix of crossbows and skirms.
This will be tricky, and units, they obviously clump up quite a bit between those wood lines. Oh, that mangonel looks a bit scary.
Yeah, I actually not even sure which one you're referring to because there's so many important mangonels right now, but...
the water.
Oh, yeah, I see it. And Sebastian sees it, and Sebastian kills it. My god, that was crazy.
Nice move there, ate a bit of damage, but that's still fine. And as you can see, they're really clumping up.
There's also a demo from Viper. He did this before. This could be way more devastating now. And the mangonel for Sebastian comes over. Viper still trying to poke away at this wood line.
Inside. Oh.
And the shot...
I'm getting nervous here.
Yeah, it doesn't get the hit. Viper even attacking with the spear there. There's so many things happening. But it is 3 TCs for Viper. And he's starting to build up a bit of a lead.
Wheelbarrow now for Sebastian. Economy will be better. Mangonel trade in the middle. Goes in favor for Sebastian.
And now 3rd TC for Sebastian. Nilly. It's so close. Now, is there a civ that you prefer here in the late game?
Ooh, late game. I just always think like this map is often decided in late Castle Age, right?
Yeah.
Because that's where we decide map control. That's where we decide villager advantages. If we get to super late game, it's pretty close. I probably prefer Italian slightly, but before that, I prefer Japanese.
The Viper sees the TC, snipes the Vills building it, and backs away. So now 12 villager lead. This is a nice, healthy eco lead for Viper. And he'll know as well, with denying that TC, that is likely TC number 3, and that he has that eco lead right now. So do you change your decision making if you're Viper? Do you play more passive maybe because you know you have the lead, or what do you think?
I think you have the lead because you played so aggressively, found so much damage, and you kind of want to switch into more CA potentially. You love to deny map from the opponent, so I'd love to see him keep up the aggression.
Okay. Seems to be the case. We have a knight in production for Viper. He's still producing a lot of army. His siege gets caught out there, but he only loses the Scorpion, which isn't that big a deal. You said late Castle Age. How about early Imp for the Italians? It's cheaper, and you have a ball of crossbows, that could become Arbalest.
I'm a big fan of bombard cannons, right? If we get into the scenario where traps, and they aren't far away from each other, might get in an important role, bombard cannons and cheaper ones will be really nice for Italians. And potential condo raids.
Yep, true. Mangonel, Viper wants to snipe it, but Sebastian is there, as always. Sebastian should know that Viper has the demo out there, too. He doesn't seem that scared of it, and he snipes it.
Viper tried to be fancy there.
Wow, what a game. I noticed a couple random villagers from Sebastian tossed away to the side, so Viper, 14 villager kills now in this game, still maintaining the eco lead. Both on the way to Imp with about a 30-second difference.
Really close. Love to see it. Mangnol's trying to do something at the bottom, but there's not much that they can raid. Maybe annoying the stone a bit. Where do you want to see castle placements?
Well, I mean, if Viper is faster to Imp, which he doesn't know, I wouldn't mind a somewhat forward castle here, because you have to be fearful of bombard cannons, but Viper's not really a forward castle type of player. He's more of a player to drop the castles on a gold, so maybe the right side hill where there's extra golds would be a Viper-esque castle. But he's actually breaking through here, which is surprising.
TC's being rushed. 2 Mangonels against 2 Mangonels. Still 3 more on the field for Sebastian, so he could reinforce. That's annoying for Sebastian's already small food eco.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's the biggest thing here. Viper has such a good food eco. It's been the theme. Great shot from Viper as well. Click the farm, by the way, to get a little bit of extra range. You can always hit the middle of the farm. And there are some small details from both I like. Sebastian has been building outposts around the map for vision, but Viper has had the same and random armies sniping those vills. So Viper, 2,000 more resources collected, makes it to Imp, immediately clicks Arbalest and Bracer, and look at this micro.
Love to see it. Gets the Mangonel there, still keeps the hill. And so many resources for the Viper. Could even click chemistry as well. Gets all the upgrades. That's crazy.
And really good engagements. Sebastian will also go for skirms. There's 30 for Viper on the field. So it feels less about the attack upgrades than the armor sometimes when you have skirms involved. So the fact that Viper can also get that probably is really big. He already had Castle Age armor. Sebastian didn't. And Viper starting to push his advantage into Sebastian's eco, and Viper could use this time, secure the rest of the map, maybe get the relics, and dominate.
Quite surprised that he doesn't have any relics. He built the monastery like 5-6 minutes ago, has a monk out. Maybe a mistake there with his waypoints, and oh boy, he builds a forward castle. Yes, on a hill, but more aggressive than we would have expected.
I think this is Viper understanding the matchup and knowing that Japanese could potentially struggle due to the lack of bombard cannon. Chemistry is just now on the way for Sebastian, so this goes back to how little food eco he's had. It's been a struggle, but he's done such a good job staying alive and conserving his mass. And if his mass could eventually become stronger with bombard cannons, Viper could have some problems with this Civ matchup.
30 population lead here for our Norwegian. Still stays active there. Very defensive castle now for Sebastian as a reaction to the Viper's forward castle.
A decent shot there from Viper on some crossbows. Sebastian's moving into a lot more skirms. He's trying to nerd out with his micro, but I think Viper's got enough army to be happy with this engagement. And Sebastian has clearly misclicked maybe the first mistake from him. And apparently he dropped a little bit, and that could have been part of it. And Viper gets a clear up. Viper already had such a nice position. And they continue here, but Viper's castle goes up. Viper stealing some of the golds. And, yeah, we clearly, they played this when Dark and Yo were playing. So all the messages come in at once. There was probably a pause there. But yeah, it didn't help Sebastian's case that he lagged out a little bit there.
Oh yeah, that was a massive loss. Lost like 10 more units than he needed to. Lost probably like 25 in total. That's rough for him. Now 40 pop behind and all the map control and all the power to the Viper.
Yeah, and I think Viper should have a lot of understanding on where to go with this. Like, the left side's got to be key. You already have the right side castled. Move over to the left with some armies. He won't get that bomber cannon. He was really close. But love the patience from Viper. The skirms come in on the left. And Sebastian's building a castle. I'm sure Sebastian's castle will go up, but there's a theme here. And he's building castles to keep Viper out of critical areas of his eco. He's had no offense.
And arrow slits coming. Viper will just put tower over tower on this map. And with so much area to fight for, towers are sometimes better than castles in those situations.
Yep, agreed. Yeah, I think, and with Viper's current situation, this is where I'd really like to see him start to think about cav archers. It feels like you have the time with your castles to maybe get heavy CA. That could be a bit awkward against skirms, though. And Japanese in general just struggle against skirms. We saw a game the other day where someone tried Cavalier. That didn't really work. What ended up working in that game was just holding the map control. And so we have a very similar situation here.
Left-hand side feels really open for the Viper. He is only focusing at the bottom. Yeah, he gets siege engineers and kind of Naruto. Those traps will be lovely. But at the top, he's really open. And look where Sebastian is going.
Yeah, he is dropping some towers there. But I don't think those towers are actually going to stay up. And Viper will do what he can to raid the south. But Sebastian has a pretty big army of skirms there. And he has bomber cannons for Viper's trebs. So if Sebastian can snipe the trebs and also get a counter raid, this could be his way back into the game, Nilly.
Trebs need to run. Oh boy, they are quick. And yeah, raid at the left-hand side is really nice as well. Towers not going up. And Viper, he's in some trouble.
He is in some trouble. These towers are not going up. He doesn't have army here. And his castle could be in jeopardy. It's still a lot to pay attention to. But what a great job from Sebastian, who is 0 on gold, by the way. That may change, but like, he's held. After 2 big lag spikes, being behind 30 or 40 population, it's even now.
That's just such a crazy play. Where is Sebastian taking his next gold? He has a tiny bit in his base, 65 gold left. Right-hand side will be tricky with the castle and the trap still protecting. And left-hand side, I don't see anything.
The Viper will bring skirms and cav archers back to deal with Sebastian's skirms. I'm sure he'll eventually deal with that. And then the towers could go up. But yeah, Viper's castle, maybe that was his recognition, Nilly. His scouting's incredible. So he knows that Sebastian doesn't really have a lot of gold over there. And so just holding this castle on the right, every second he does that, so valuable.
Is the Viper taking into Elite Samurai? Look at his resources. He can soon afford Elite. He only has one single castle, though. That would be really questionable.
I mean,
why else would he go for infantry armor?
Well, if you have 5 trebs, Elite Samurai do produce very quickly. I think the safer play is probably Champion. You could then use your castle for other things. I see monasteries now for him and redemption, so he's thinking about converting the bomber cannon, which makes sense. I would like to see Sebastian try and get stables down now, Nilly, and get into some light cav. I see them on the left as I say that, so clearly he's planning for life without gold.
Yeah, that's why I said I prefer Italians, right? Hussar, bombard cannon in the late game could be superior, but we only had 42 farms and obviously far away from affording Hussar.
Another game with the tiny little ponds. Another game where Viper makes use of it. He's making cannon galleons from the middle pond on Jungle Swamp. Viper is going to use the swamp to push the castle down from Sebastian. That's honestly an epic play here.
One shot, one kill there for the first cannon galleon. And long term, 4 against 0 relics. Really nice advantage there for the Viper, still controlling the left-hand side. And those 5 traps guarding the castle on the right.
Viper also, I think, got arrow slits. We also saw Yasama. He's up to keep now. These towers are absolutely insane. And Viper simply knows, I have the map control. I have the right corner of the map. I have the left corner of the map. And even if I lose some vills to these skirms, he is not going to be able to hang with me here. And it's been calculated from Viper in a matchup that might not necessarily be as good in Imp. And I think as long as he can find the finishing blow onto a castle somewhere, this should be his game.
Viper getting all the upgrades in the book now. Treadmill crane, heavy CA, block printing, last wood upgrade. He's prepared for the very, very long game.
I mean, it's good that he has the gold because he did just lose his cannon galleons in the middle. But look at him on the right. The Trebs are pushing down the TCs. He also has the raiding army on the left. That's where Viper's focus is. He's also focused and defended from the skirm raid. And so it's just like a slow crawl from Viper on each side. And I think if Sebastian had one more area of gold, like maybe 2,000 more golds, and he could get armor and all these things, I would think he could maybe do it. But to have no gold for this long just feels impossible.
Not the hazard tech at least, but missing the last armor upgrade. And yeah, that's a nice push there. With the keep, that's so pop efficient as well. 5 traps gaining so much ground.
Yep, Viper will know. There's no way he's not thinking about this with how much attention he's putting onto these corners. How important was that castle? That castle absolutely changed the game, Nilly. I didn't realize. Maybe Sebastian didn't realize that that gold was so critical to him.
Yeah, really nice realization for the Viper. No expansion towards the right-hand side. And maybe something they overlooked, except the Viper, who is taking it slowly but surely. Only 2 villagers on it.
Yep, and it's a slow crawl because it's the first game. And Sebastian still has an armor upgrade on the way for the Cav. He may still feel like having that when the Japanese don't is a win condition, but he doesn't have a relic. He still has so many different groups to kill off. Viper's killed 90 villagers and is still escaping with some of these Cav archers. And the Catsapruto Trebs just pack up so quick and move on to the next target. He's not going to have any castles soon.
Oh, it doesn't feel fair how the Viper is playing the civilization. Like using every
dude.
bonus.
Okay, look to the left. Viper quick walling 4 villagers on that lumber camp. Like, you could easily lose those vills, but that is a confident Viper right there. Every little detail he was confident with in that moment. And Viper wins, and that is the Viper that everyone wanted. Well, let me rephrase this. Everyone but Sebastian and Sebastian fans wanted to see today.
That was great map awareness of the Viper. On the right-hand side, controlling that gold might have been the deciding thing, because Sebastian, he just lost all his steam early in, where we felt, okay, Bombard Cannon, all the elite upgrades, Hazard, and then he can start swarming. But Sebastian had to invest so much, and the Bombard Cannon's not enough to clear the castle.
This is a really hard map to play. There's so many things you have to do to keep yourself alive when the level's this high and when it was that close. And when Viper had the minimal lead in the game, it was clear that he started to recognize how important that right side was. The first thing he did was he dropped the TC way over there. I think with where the action could have potentially happened in Castle Age, the third TC he built was kind of risky. That was my thinking. I thought he would maybe build it towards the north or something, but there was some wood over there, there was some stone, and there was some gold. And you can click back with Capture Age maybe and just look at the gold positions. There's neutrals, right? And there weren't many that spawned in the left corner. Most of them all spawned in the right. And Viper controlled that area and dropped the forward castle, which took Sebastian off of that gold there too. But, you know, it just felt to me in Castle Age, even though Sebastian was hanging in Nilly, that Sebastian wasn't dictating the pace anymore, you know? And that Viper was always going to have full control. Here we are. We have the banger we wanted. Viper in tip-top shape takes the first game. And he goes for the Hindustanis here. And Sebastian goes for Lithuanians on his home map here, Nilly. Let's go.
Needs to make something happen. Hindustanis obviously love to play this map. Long distance between the two players often means we're going for cavalry. We're going for mobile units. And Hindustani, the perfect counter there against the potential knights with their fast attacking camels.
Yeah, so first thing, right off the bat, I notice there is not an immediate wood line across the long area of this map for Sebastian, which can happen from time to time. Maybe it was supposed to generate where the hill is. I'm not too sure. Now, he does have a back wood line to fall back to if he scouts it. He does also have the res on the sides, but that's going to be something Sebastian will have to adapt to here. Now, it's one of those weird ones. See, they wanted to play as Rex. They didn't want to play live. They had to play privately when Yo and Dark was happening. And so if they're playing privately, there's no one that can see the whole map and say, like, hey, do you want to restart this, whatever. So obviously this gets played on. So the players could always bring up if that is an issue for them and talk to about the admin. So I think just more adaptation needed, I guess, for Sebastian, because usually you are going somewhat forward for your wood.
Yeah, that's one of the common strategies, right? Go to the front, and that's why we sometimes even see man-at-arm openings on this map, trying to go for the aggression, trying to build a tower behind this. Sebastian decides to build the lumber camp on top, scouted the full front with his picks, should have a good idea that this is not the typical map.
Well, so every time Lithuanians are played, they always go for the top lumber camp, and I think that actually really helps you here because you have the time. to find those other wood lines for adaptations later on. There's also 2 relics, which will end up being in this southern corner there for Sebastian. So this could be a really important area for him to expand to. And it could make things a little bit more difficult for Viper in some ways too, because he's expecting to see certain things when he arrives to his opponent's base. And he's not going to find the wood line on the front.
He's building the lumber camp at top as well. Feels like both players should be opening with scouts here. And on this level, I would be surprised if we see too many losses early on. The big question after the scouts, are we trying to go into archers?
Yeah, I think Lithuanians usually want to stay on skirms, I guess, because of the faster moving skirms and spears. It feels like such a close matchup. Like, in theory, also, I don't think this is completely walled for Sebastian.
No loom. No wall.
Viper knew this scout was around for Sebastian. But yeah, like, I think I would want to play Archer Scout to prevent, well, skirms and spears coming out. But it's... You know what? I think with this distance, it could be kind of awkward to play spears and skirms, though, with Lithuanians, right?
Yeah. I think maybe even just some scouts, some spearmen, and trying to get to Castle Age could be a very reasonable option, especially if you feel like your gold is safe.
Yeah. Interesting. They both lumber camp the top. And there's limited wood up there, obviously, but there's enough to work with for now. And Sebastian, we've seen this build a couple times nearly. 19 pop click up from him. He'll be up way faster than the Viper, and that's obviously designed to get a lead to kill the fish. And wouldn't you know it, no wood on the front, but he's got that little nugget of wood there in that corner, which he scouted with the sheep. And so there he goes, and that might be a tough area for Viper to scout, honestly.
Thinking ahead for future tournaments, do you think backwood should be an option?
I could tell you that it was worked on for a very long time to not have that happen, and here we are.
Okay.
And it's like, because Acropolis, you'd have to make the Acropolis much bigger to stop resources from generating in corners. And then it's like, is Vipers in the north or the I guess the west? Is that back? It's really tricky.
Yeah, it's tough to define for sure.
Yeah, we made like 3 separate tweaks to the map. There's obviously, I think the biggest thing, which no one really thinks about until it's a factor, is actually the neutral golds on this map. So as you can see, that's fairly spread out. But that's also a tricky topic. So I think in this case, it balances out because obviously Sebastian would have wanted the forward wood. So having the backwood feels like the AoE god's balancing it out a little bit.
Different approaches here. 2 on gold for Sebastian. He's going for the fire galley, while Viper not on gold at all, so he will go for scouts. Will give up the water. And this one should still have a lot of fish left.
A lot of fish. I guess it depends on what type of fish. I'm a salmon fan, so only 130 salmon would be disappointing, but the shorefish is still there. So it's less efficient, but you could still have a couple worker lead. And, Viper's going for a demo, which I really like. If you kill 2 fishing ships with the demo, you feel very happy about this situation.
You won't use the gold for quite some time anyways. Let's take a look at the demo. He will lose his fish.
Very little reaction time for Sebastian. He might not expect it, and Viper moves out, and he kills the fish. I really like that from
nice
Viper's
move.
perspective. Also, I'm seeing remnants of a gate. He tried to trap Sebastian's scout. Dude, this is not the group stage Viper. This is playoff Viper right now. The traps, the demo, the level he showed in game number 1, just amazing. And Sebastian can, of course, take what's left of the fish, but he has to invest more to recover from it now.
4 on gold for Sebastian. This is going to be full archer play, and Viper, yeah, he will have the map control, but I think he will have to build an archery range to get some skirmishes out himself.
Look at
Does Viper see the woodline in the back?
Yeah, see, it's one of those weird things, right? Like, Viper maybe has a better map, but now he has no clue that Sebastian's back there. So that could be really good for Sebastian. Viper maybe thinking that he's just simply staying with lumber camps on the top. And Viper also didn't scout... Oh, sorry, he did scout the range. I'm wrong, and he obviously sees the archer and the spear right now.
Still range, now being rushed with 2 villagers. Don't think that first force is going to be too scary, but Viper doesn't feel like he has the time to go for the aggression. Another group of another spear and archers coming.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of confidence from Viper to pick off those reinforcements. He got a couple hits, but can't stick around. Knew that Sebastian would react. I really like what Viper's doing with those scouts, though. He still knows that more archers could come forward. And if Sebastian were to do that, he would lose them to those 2 scouts.
Horse color even being squeezed in by Sebastian. He wants to play long feudal age apparently. But the Viper skipping horse color on this map here, where it felt like long distance. You're going for scouts. Not your typical Viper.
Yep. Well, you know, like, things I would associate with present-day Viper, getting relics early and not walling and, like, having to be way more adaptive than one should be, honestly. Like, there's been some instances where I've thought he's being too greedy, right? And in game 1, it was the perfect balance of army into walls, just like in the past with Viper. He didn't, like, YOLO get relics, as opposed to, like, controlling the map in critical areas with armies. And he didn't rush, like, greedy eco timings. That's a villager down. But I kind of like no horse collar because you can get so many farms out so quickly and get that range up so fast and have these skirms. So it isn't your typical Viper, I guess, recent years, but I really agree with the build-up. I think that most players... Or sorry, not most players, but like someone like Hera, for example, someone like Leary, they haven't been getting it in these instances either.
Well, the logic behind it is, okay, I will have a bit more army and therefore will have more presence, but having that early archer range, having so many skirms out and still losing that will, then I prefer horse color.
Yeah, that's true. Armor on the way now for Viper. For only 4 skirms in the main force, but I was not expecting the Hindustani player to be the one with skirms here. I thought it was going to be the Lithuanian player with the skirms. And Sebastian really needs something to deal with that. And Viper can use those skirms against pretty much everything. Against the spears and also against the archers.
Or skirms only at the front. Can he send the rest? He's camping at home right now. Still some aggression, maybe without fletching. The fight could have been something for Sebastian. Now with fletching, I think he has to wait for scouts.
He does kill it. He does kill 2 scouts there, though. Viper scouts decide to go rogue on him. And this is where, for the viewers watching at home, Viper will actually know what Sebastian's doing. He doesn't see it, but the only logical move for Sebastian, really, is to add scouts himself. So I just wonder, assuming he senses that, and I would guess that he does, how does he play it from this scenario? It seems like he's waiting for Sebastian to show his hand. And then he might make a choice, and he snipes a Vil, and now he sees a scout.
Get some damage done against the archers here. Viper, I think he had the chance to play Feudal Age all in here. Right? All the production is hidden completely at the other side. He is already at the gold, knows wood will be exposed, but decides to go for the fast castle age.
Yep. I remember these farms for Sebastian. They have horse collar. They'll last a very long time. That wood is pretty much protected in the back. Viper is simply using this army to give himself time to get the castle age advantage. The micro's all right, but I think he'll end up losing all of his army here. And that this army could end up getting over to Viper's base. Viper's scouts are very weak. And his skirms will go down. And this will be 2 to 3 minutes for Viper, where he has to defend against Sebastian, who will have foraging scouts and 10 plus archers.
Scout and 4 skirms arriving at the right-hand side. We'll find a villager kill there as well, and it feels like Sebastian will have to clear this one up before he can go for the counterattack.
Yeah, villager goes down. I like that from Viper. That's key. I still don't know if he sees the wood line here. He still doesn't see that wood line, which is kind of funny. He must be wondering what on earth is happening there. And the skirms won't find it. And something I'm really surprised by is that Sebastian... Where is his army? Sebastian's not going forward. If Sebastian went forward right now, he would at least force a tower out of Viper or something. He's just kind of waiting at home right now.
And the timing isn't that brutal, right? Because Hindustanis can't go knights. So even if the opponent gets Castle Age, you're not like instantly getting cleared up by 2 camels.
Yeah, yeah.
I think he could have been out there.
Yeah, I agree. But I think something that was key from Sebastian in the previous game is he really likes to conserve that archer mass. And so maybe that's in the back of his mind. He also seems to be extremely paranoid about this corner, which still is so funny to me because Viper doesn't know about it.
Yeah.
But he's placed those outposts. I actually love the outposts on both sides. You know Viper's going to try and utilize some mobility here, and it really helps you there.
Added some more scouts to get some more vision. Felt like, okay, I must not die before reaching Castle Age. Might stop at 5 skirms and 3 scouts, though. If he has 2 camels out, he should be fine against all the scouts, and then archers is the main threat.
I'm curious how much of this is the Viper effect, the fact that Sebastian waited to come forward, because, oh man, Viper is about to build a really risky TC anyways, but I feel like mere mortals would have had to drop a tower after losing their Feudal Age army, right? And Viper, able to seemingly protect his TC, doesn't lose the Vil. That's a big moment in this game.
Yeah, just imagine the archers could have been out earlier, and then maybe thinking about jumping against those skirms. Scout numbers weren't there. Sebastian, maybe a bit of indecisiveness, but he will get to the gold with a nice timing.
And the key thing, see, Lithuanians are seen as a knight civ, right? And the key thing you're going to want, if you're up against a camel civ then, is actually crossbows. So I like the thinking. I also like Viper now, being active with those scouts. Attacking Sebastian. Sebastian will fight it off, but that's hard work for him. And Sebastian saving the Vil? Nope, loses it. Nice work from Viper, but does he know where Sebastian is right now?
He has no idea. Look at the camels. If he knew where the archers were, he wouldn't be scouting there.
He's looking everywhere, Nilly. His skirms are waiting at home. He might have just caught a glimpse of it, and in the darkness, he saw it, and honestly, could have been way worse for Viper. That's a great reaction.
Yeah, and saw it really early, even tried to micro the villager around, but couldn't really decide if she wanted to go right or left of the mining camp. Loses 1 build there, and Viper off gold for now, but mainly needs skirmishes to clear those crossbows up anyways.
Yeah. I think what's good for Sebastian right now is that Viper is going to have to chase. That's the good thing. Viper's skirms can't really do too much offensively, but the bad thing would be the eco difference, which feels somewhat similar to the first game, where Viper's faster to the TCs. But Viper's woodline... Oh my goodness, this is like worst possible efficiency for woodline. That forward woodline, which is supposedly better for Viper, is actually horrible for him right now.
Yeah, Viper not really splitting the skirms, right? He tries to chase with 9 skirmishes there, only 1 for the defense, but now is pushing Sebastian away and can build the 3rd town center. Nice next to the gold. Ooh, but Sebastian with an aggressive siege workshop.
Yeah. I don't know if we could do anything about it, except for maybe sit back a bit further. But I think it's the level of excitement we have now. The mic is peaking a little bit for you here or there. But I'm happy to roll with it again. I don't know how many adjustments we can make on the fly, and we've got amazing game right now. But it's kind of tricky for Sebastian. His main army is in the north, and he wants to secure a siege workshop position, and never mind. He realizes that and backs that up, so it should go up. It does affect constant reinforcements on the push, but I'm still not fully in love with Viper's situation economically. It feels like a lot of his eco, even though he has the Vil lead, is pretty inefficient right now.
6 on gold then the back, together with the knights. The skirms alone won't be enough for the defense, but Sebastian doesn't feel like he can dive this under the town center. Only 1 armor upgrade on the knights.
Viper just doesn't really have a lot of counterattack potential. The camels are distraction, but that seems like a pretty expensive loss. And I wonder if this is going to be the theme of the game for Viper. The previous game, he was able to get offensive pressure, but he's not able to just yet. But Ballistics is in, and the skirms see the crossbows in the north.
But only a single camel. I think with 5 knights out on the field, this will be tricky for the Viper. He needs to get into camel production ASAP. He has way too much on gold now.
Yeah, it's really hard to balance his eco right now, isn't it? There's so much happening, and this is all before he sees the siege from Sebastian, who is just building the 2nd TC. But his food count is crazy right now, and he flattens Viper's skirms. Viper's monastery could be denied here as well. Panic time for the snake.
He goes on the 4th town center with 18 on food, no production. Is he maybe cutting too many corners here?
Yeah, I think he seems a little unsure of what to make. I think this is... Like, remember we talked about Sebastian's hesitancy to attack Viper in feudal. I think in the back of Sebastian's mind, he was just thinking that he needed crossbows here against Hindustanis. It couldn't be a situation where he's solely on knights, because if it was, the camels would wreck him. And Viper just has to adapt to so much, and Sebastian just keeps coming. He's bringing the knights around. Viper will chase that, and then there's crossbows sneaking in the northern corner against Viper as well.
Oh, and all the skirms at the bottom. That could be some villager kills. Viper again. Not really splitting his skirms. 14 skirms. Most of them at the same point. I'm so surprised.
Well, I am, but I'm also not, because this is what Sebastian is capable of when he is the one being aggressive nearly. And he's just hitting so many different spots. He's killing units on the left TC with the knight, microing the knight away. The other knights are looping back towards the mangonels. The crossbows are still moving away to the corner. Like, Viper is just chasing all the time. And yes, he's incredible, as we saw, but with this level of aggression, it feels inevitable Viper's going to lose all his TCs on the front.
Oh, but now the camels took a reasonable fight against the knights. Skirms are coming from the top. Viper wants to take this engagement.
Yeah, Viper needs those camels close to that. And Sebastian's trying to keep his units together. He whittles down the camels. The knights can push back the skirms. The crossbows can actually move away if they want. And then look at the siege rolling up the hill from Sebastian.
Perfect engagement there for Sebastian, and those knights can clear up the skirms. Now Viper couldn't handle the pressure.
Yeah, he can. And he will eventually kill those knights. More camels will be on the way, but Sebastian says, hello, Viper! And he splits against the mangonel. He doesn't even, not just lose a unit, but he doesn't lose any HP. And now he's actually on Viper's hill, firing downhill. And the theme continues. Viper cannot stop this death ball that Sebastian's sending his way. Oh, man.
Pops out. Can he get a shot off against the crossbows?
I think that's acceptable if you're Sebastian. That's more than acceptable. +2 armor on the way. 3 TCs behind this, which is absolutely ridiculous. And Viper's Siege Workshop will not produce that mangonel. It's gone, which means the TC could be gone. And it's an endless cycle of death, right? Viper has to fight, but every time he does fight, his army's just too weak.
Only now proper camel upgrades. First armor upgrade in. Now we see bloodlines. Those camels were just so weak, completely relying on the faster attack, but they just died too quickly.
Yeah, even with armor, you are dying to crossbowmen. The skirms were supposed to be the key, but skirms have their weaknesses against the knights and against the siege. Love it from Sebastian. 2 knights raiding Viper in that TC. He's so aware. And Viper is going to soon be on 2 TCs. So he went from 4 TCs to 2 TCs. But that was Sebastian's choice.
Okay, now the big engagement here. Camels are trying to go back. Camel numbers are getting reasonable. Mangonel tries to get the hit in.
Yeah, you need to keep your army together here if you're Sebastian. And maybe if you can manage it, get the relics as well. The camels for Viper just don't have the HP, though. And, oh, man, Viper's going to lose his camels. Sebastian's micro good enough, and all the skirms are now gone.
7 military to 24, and the aggression keeps coming. And look at that castle.
Dude, I mean, what a response from Sebastian. What a player. Both these players, unreal. And this is the round of 12 we wanted between the two of them. Both players playing so well. And there were some aspects of this that could have been really bad for Sebastian early, Nilly. The lack of a forward wood line. When we had the conversation, maybe in the future we try and avoid that. That should be difficult for Sebastian. Well, he adapted well. He got demoed on his fish after the water opening. That could have been a problem. He just, anytime, anything could potentially go wrong, whether it's Viper at his base or maybe aspects of the map. He just absolutely dominated this one.
Yeah. Just felt like Sebastian attacked at like 3 different angles at the same time, and Viper moving with 1 big skirmisher flock. Obviously, only sending 2 skirms won't really get the clear up if scouts or knights are around. So I can see how he was forced to basically keep his skirms together.
I think for Viper, He went to Castle Age, and he had so little army with it. Whereas in the previous game, he was in Castle Age, but he had a lot of army to pressure Sebastian. But I think Viper had 2 camels and 5 skirms when he was building his 2nd and 3rd TC. And there was just a whole lot of sitting in his base here. I think it's a matchup problem. I think if he had access to knights, maybe he changes that. But credit to Sebastian, we have a 1-1. I think Horsecollar also paid off. Not saying Viper's situation would have necessarily been very different, but I remember Viper was like 15 vills ahead, but Sebastian had actually collected like 1,500 more resources, and I think that was actually the food eco. Here we are. So, yesterday, we covered a set together with Sato and ACCM, and it became very, very clear all the different things you can do on this map, Nilly. But we had the Armenians played by one of the players, and I felt pretty certain that Sebastian was going to do that here, and instead he goes for the Koreans. Are you surprised by that?
I'm surprised by both sis. We also had Dravidians for the Viper. I even like loaded back into the Civ draft. This is like, what are we going for?
Do you remember when ACCM put the scout on the island, and then he sent the transport through the river and did this whole thing? They're both doing it. They're both doing it. Nice. They're both doing the same thing, and they run into each other, and Viper gets a couple hits with his scout. But that is sick. You get the most value from your scouting. You can use the transport on the water, and then you can use your scout on the land. And then once you get to the other side, you load your scout into the transport ship, and then they may both end up over on the opponent's island to try and steal something here.
See what they can steal. Obviously, seeing each other's scout means all those buffaloes should be really close to the sound center, and all of them have been found before. So, nice adjustment by both.
Yeah, really nice adjustment. That's crazy. So, yeah, I'm with you. I actually think it's hilarious that you had to double check and go back to the draft. I feel like that's not so common that we do that. And actually, there is a buffalo that Sebastian has left on the side here, so Viper might be able to steal that. Actually, that should be his, because there's no way Sebastian can get to it with his scout over near Viper's island or in the middle.
Yeah, true. Should be taken away. Now that I'm thinking about it, Dravidians, we often talk about them being so strong on water, but one of their major bonuses is the fish advantage. And this map, having relatively low fish compared to other maps, might actually push you a bit further away from Dravidians.
Yeah, and it can get messy, and in messy situations, you might want the market. So maybe that's Viper's logic. But also at the same time, if fish are quite far away, which can be the case on this map, I feel as though having extra carry capacity is really good, which Dravidians have.
Also true.
Interesting side note. So usually, I feel what balances the fish spawns on this map is the fact that players start with the transport to scout where their fish are. But because they've used their transport so actively, they're both placing docks pretty far from deep fish because they didn't scout where the deep fish are at their base.
Yeah, really unfortunate for Sebastian. Viper in an okay-ish spots comparison, but yeah, it's not great. You mainly have to rely on normal food income.
Yeah, and for added perspective on that, we obviously look at the maps and really try and have them be as balanced as possible. And that's hard to do, to have variance in every single script, and also balance is tricky. I talked about the fish, and I was thinking we need to adjust the fish. And then I said, well, never mind. They start with the transport. They've got 5 minutes to scout where their fish are. So that should be fine. It's just, in this case, Sebastian went forward and, yeah, he finds the one deep fish close by.
Yeah. Also, like, where do you draw the line? And it is a fine line anyways, like, between randomness and absolute fairness. Yep. For example, the Cresini approach when it comes to relics is put one relic in each corner and one in the middle. Most fair thing you could do, right? Yep. Everyone has the same chance. All 5 are contested. All 5 are always fair. Is it that most exciting thing? I say no.
Yeah. I personally like it to be somewhere in between, like the perfect fix and obviously fully random. So in this case, with the relics, there should be... Oh, hold on. Well, it's not somewhere in between. We got 2 relics in the northern island, which I guess is a bit bigger. 1 relic in the southern middle island, and then each have 1 on their starting island too. So I guess that's still a total of 5. But yeah, it depends. It's a really tricky balance, right? And things are at the level where people could look to one single moment and potentially blame that for what goes right or what goes wrong. But here, at the end of the day, it's not going to be about heavy fishing eco. It's going to be about how you control the rest of the aspects of the map. And Viper has already transported and
6 villagers on the other side. Sebastian, he forgot one.
Oh.
Look at how lonely she looks.
She had a ticket for a ride 2 hours later, and they wouldn't let her on. They had room for her, but this was a German transport, and they said no. This is the wrong time.
Not us today.
Dude, I could talk about an experience where I went to a gym in Berlin, and I had 14 euros, and it was 15 euros to work out. And first off, I was like, does anyone speak English? They got someone that spoke English, came over, and they didn't take Visa, credit card too. I was like, oh man, I only have 14 euros. And I looked at them, and, you know, I kind of expected them to be like, oh, that's fine. And so I said that, and the guy just looked at me as if to say, like, and?
No. The sign says 14 euros.
I was baffled. I was like, what? I was like, I can bring one back later if you want. I can go. They're like looking at me. Like, guess you're not working out at this gym today. So there's the range for Sebastian. I was absolutely baffled, bro.
Yeah.
They were nice about it, though. They weren't mean. They were just, you know.
Nice rejection.
Yeah, I mean, they take
a nice rejection.
So the big thing on this map is your wood spend early, and Sebastian's gone for that barracks. His transport's being chased down, by the way, and that scout is not going to be in the position he'll want it on Viper's starting island. So Viper's gone double dock galleys to open. The benefit...
Crazy micro with transport.
Yep. I don't think that's where you want your scout to be right now, if you're Sebastian. I think he is there because he wanted to save it, but that is not where he wanted to be at all.
200 HP for the Saracen transport. I've never thought that this could actually be an impactful thing.
Yeah. I remember a community game, where someone had their king in a transport ship that was a Saracen transport ship. Now, this was like 7 years ago. And it was, I forget how many demos it was, but it was enough where I felt it would have killed it. It was 2 regular Castle Age demos, maybe, let's say. And I'm like, oh my god, the king's gonna die. And Dave calmly goes, no, bro, it's a Saracen transport ship. And I was like, Dave, how do you not know a single build order or even like, I don't know, a monk hotkey, but you know a Saracen transport ship has 200 HP. It was insane. Transport survived for Sebastian, by the way, in the north.
Oh, that's a nice save for him. 4 HP. How did the galley not finish this off?
I think Viper is very distracted. He saw the archers and panicked nearly. He lost his scout, and he did get the walls down. But while he has, like, water control, he hasn't won the water. And it's so much more difficult to control galleys on this map. And there's so many areas that you can send in fire ships. There's a new dock from Sebastian in the middle to save his fish throughout this time. That is really cool.
Nice and sneaky. And also this makes it easier to play with fires compared to galley approach. Forward tower for Sebastian, and Koreans, they love to tower.
Well, look at Viper now. I think this is really important because he's looking for the fish. He has the water advantage because he hasn't gone to land, and he is not going to expect that. This right here, friends, this dock is a product of practice and lots of it. This does not just happen. And Sebastian hasn't killed a ton, but I think he's got to be loving his position right now.
Sebastian with 2-0 KD right now. That was the scout. And now the fire galleys are unleashed, and we'll get another galley.
And the transport, the 4 HP transport. I mean, I wouldn't trust that thing. It's probably leaking, and it will sink 10 minutes after you get in. There's a wonder the tickets are so cheap. But this is going to actually work. And Viper might assume he has killed that Nilly. Unbelievable.
theoretically, Sebastian could have built another one, so Viper should not have been too sure about this. And now the archers are in. Ooh, instant reaction.
And Viper is in a position where he's trying to sell stone. He's trying to buy resources. He's been towered already. He now needs to drop a defensive archer range, and that was just so well timed. I feel like even if Sebastian doesn't find kills from this, this just sets up the rest of the game so nicely for him. He's still on water. He still has his fish around. And Viper's fishing ships have been spotted by Sebastian with his sneak dock in the south.
Oh, that's such a nice pickoff. And in messy games, you want to have the fires, right? Because you don't really want to micro, and now the fire is attacking the transport ship as well. Oh, Sebastian with another beautiful aggression.
He's playing so good. And this is why this map has been banned in group stage. And this is, I think, the perfect way to play fire galleys against galleys. Put your opponent's focus into so many different areas. Viper with 29 on stone, 2 on food, and 5 on wood right now. This is an actual Viper economy, folks.
And still, Sebastian on the way to Castle Age before the Saracen market user.
Yeah. Well, Viper's going to be using the market, all right. He just sold 400 stone to buy 300 food. If he wasn't Saracens, he's completely dead. And hey, credit to the Snake. He clears up the archers in the end. He is on the way up and could maybe adapt from here.
Okay, let's think about the longer game here. Viper is trying to build the stable, trying to make it messy, but if we stabilize, who do you think has the better late game on this map?
I think it's really close. I think Koreans, though, are probably superior. Where I worry about the Koreans is still the land. The archer sneak was great, but Viper is sneaking a stable, and one single knight from Viper can completely disrupt all of this. It would really be good for Sebastian to maybe actually have villagers in the north right now. But that's hard to think of, and I think Sebastian... Oh, he can't see it! He cannot see the stable with the skirmishers.
One tile away, and he won't move, right? He's at a good spot there, harassing the woodline. But Viper's building a scout. I think this is giving a bit of a warning.
Yeah. I don't know. I like the scout. You still kill the skirms. But yeah, maybe you wait for a knight there instead. Sebastian knows now, can simply fall back and add a spear. Viper did end up finding some of the fish from Sebastian. I have no clue where they've gone. And War Galley upgrade. I think Sebastian's plan was thinking he's ahead on lands, and now he just needs to win the water and boom. But there's not a lot of space here, and booming here seems so difficult, man. It's so cramped.
Yeah, and especially with towers, right? If Sebastian gets his second tower up on the island that both of them are contesting, Viper will have a really tough time clearing that up.
Man, a monk would be so valuable for Sebastian. Viper was attempting to take the tower down. So Sebastian brings the vills. It feels to me like Sebastian is going to do what I said. He's making another transport now. I think he actually wants to safely TC in the north. Viper won't have that luxury. Viper has 3 fire galleys, and he doesn't have the resources for upgrades. So it's pretty much all about this land area for him.
And Knight now against 2 spearmen, takes the engagement. That's the best scenario for Sebastian. Might even delay the monastery.
Another knight can get some hits. The vills can get some hits. I think that's a clear up. And so Sebastian continues to struggle on land. He builds a stone wall and a town center. Now that's interesting. And really creative in the moment to think that he could do that.
Siege Workshop will try to push this, but if Sebastian gets another tower up there, will be tricky for the Viper.
It's kind of funny. Viper's...
And I don't think he can land.
It's kind of funny. Viper is looking for the vills, and there's nothing there. They're all building the TC right now. And you're right. Viper would need a sneak dock and a transport to land, but it looks like the dock is going up in the north. And that's going to be kind of ambitious for him to get a transport over there.
Sebastian now landing the other main island there. We'll get a beautiful TC spot between the woodlines next to the gold there, most likely also next to the deer. Kind of the dream of a TC. And Viper fully focused on the one island that's contested.
That's kind of interesting. Viper has sold a lot of stone. Like, he is continuously selling stone to buy wood and other resources. And I know there's a lot in the middle. But if castles eventually become important here, Viper's working away from that, not towards that, with how much stone he's been selling off here.
Oh, or he can buy it way cheaper. Right now it's at 101 gold
True.
to get 100 stone.
Sebastian, properly patrolling his fires, will find the dock that Viper's making the transport out of. And Viper has set the waypoint, and that transport's a goner there.
Oh, is it? How did that happen? Did Sebastian
I guess it's...
click all his army or something?
I think maybe he re-patrolled? He's now checking the other side, though. Viper's got to be really careful. But I think Viper knows now. By the way, Sebastian never got a tower up in front of this TC. So this TC is currently kind of a liability. He does have the stone for a castle. And he is going to place one on the shoreline in the northern island. Viper might join him in the northern island, though. That transport saves the Viper.
He builds the castle on the other side, tries to save his town center against one mangonel. Without repair, I think they're just getting close.
Man, food eco must be so rough for both. I like Viper's farming eco. Fish is pretty much not a factor at all. How important will it be that Viper has held on here? When those archers showed up, it looked like he was dead. But while his boom isn't necessarily ideal, he will likely take out the TC. And Sebastian doesn't know that Viper will be sneaking in the north, and he built a stable there.
Also went for Bloodlines. TC goes down. Kind of a slip up for Sebastian. And yeah, there will be quite contested area at the top as well. But double TC and the monastery already. So knights won't be that scary.
Viper's transport is trying to make it to those knights, Nilly. And I don't think Sebastian can focus on that. That freaking transport. I mean, Sebastian doesn't know the Vils made it to the north. So he's not even thinking about a transport in the first place. And so I think Viper could do a lot with these knights. These knights could completely change the game.
35 villages and increasing there. That could be 5 to 10 dead villages quite easily and a lot of idle time.
Yeah, and Sebastian just doesn't know. And you know what it will do is it'll take Sebastian's focus away from where he wants to focus, which is actually the northern area where Viper has just landed. And Viper's knights, once they move, will find guaranteed damage. Wait, it's Korean Vils. I wonder if he'll notice them. He sees them. Now, will he react to them? I don't know.
Oh, he's actually tower rushing the other side. That's why he's distracted.
Oh! Okay. All right. And Viper sees that. Viper's panicking as well. And Viper's knights aren't moving. And Sebastian sees it. Sebastian's dropping a monastery to prep some monks in defense.
And the knight being converted on the top island there or deleting. Oh, Viper slipping up with his macro.
There's so many things to focus on, and it's a guard tower from Koreans that doesn't have Bodkin yet, but could have Bodkin. That is a good annoyance, and Viper's knights are just standing there on the shoreline. They were told to go to war. They've instead gone to a vacation on the beach. And, I mean, we all know people who slack like that, but my goodness. What a game.
Your typical group project. 2 people, you send them, they have a job. Beach is too beautiful.
I mean, I would be that guy. I wouldn't be active here, trust me. And Viper goes in with the knights. They were standing there for a long time. He deletes one of them, and he loses the other, and now he loses the knight. And, I mean, that felt to me like a really valuable moment to this game, right? And the fact that there was no damage dealt there and Sebastian is held on is huge. He still has the potential to send war wagons into Viper's tiny little island. He is losing the towers, but Viper has had to work really hard to deal with that, and it's been very annoying. And Sebastian can now siege push Viper's TC in the north. So Viper doesn't necessarily have a great eco up there.
What a crazy swing in favor for Sebastian there. That he basically had those 3 knights not doing any damage.
Oh, also, you know what's a great counter to cav archers? That would be war wagons. And when you have control of the oceans, or the sea, or the rivers, or whatever this is, you can send the war wagons. And Viper thought he was safe. Viper is imping, which is absolutely insane, but the War Wagons are here. And Sebastian pushing in the north and War Wagon raiding on the island now.
And you could answer those with some manglers and some repairs, but he lost the siege workshop
to the
because
fires.
it was too close. Yeah, it was too close to the shore.
But also, like, you could say it like that, but you can also say, what crazy attention to detail from Sebastian to pull the fires over there. Like, there was no reason. Everyone forgets about their fires at this stage. At least I do. That was ridiculous.
Look at the top. He's raiding the gold there as well.
With the fire.
awareness of Sebastian.
He's insane. He's absolutely insane. And Viper, he will make it to Imp. But what is his plan in Imp, Nearly? I feel like what you would want is a castle to make trebs for the castle Sebastian has, but he has to buy the castle because he didn't have the stone anymore.
Well, he just did that. 668 stone, has to build it on the bottom island, I think. The one he built it at the top. Oh, he doesn't want to go into the Trebor?
I thought Trebor would be the play, but maybe, like, when you're already behind in one position, you don't want for that to continue to be the case. So I think Viper's hoping that he can cling to the north. If he can cling to the north and then bombard cannon push the south, he could maybe have both islands. But he loses his mangonel to Sebastian's micro. It will probably complete this castle. But not before Sebastian makes him work for it. My goodness.
Oh, yeah, that's quite some idle time. Won't get too many villagers, though.
Yeah, goes up. Well played, Viper. Viper 15 vills behind. Still has the war wagons to deal with, which is so annoying. And another tower will be built there from Sebastian, too. Viper's trying to convert the wagons right now. That's his game plan to defend there. And he'll get one. But Imp in for both now.
And it's castles on opposite islands. So trap war could be pretty... Are we just switching islands? Basically Viper winning the top and Sebastian winning the bottom?
I guess? No.
Sebastian's building a castle at the top. He's trying to attack this, but this is a prime target for the Viper now. He has the trap ready already.
Yeah, is he paying attention to it? I think he is. If Viper comes back in this game, I think it's because he built the castle in the north. I understand he may still lose, and that people may say he should have built the castle in the south, but the south is not going to be good for him regardless, and he is behind. So this is an edge for Viper somewhere. He won't have the water control. But I just wonder, what does Viper do once Sebastian gets for bombard cannon? Sebastian going for chemistry now.
Viper trying to fully all in at the top, bought himself another castle that was so costly for him. Look at the resources, absolutely stretched.
And look how weak the villagers are. And actually, Viper's castle may not protect the trebuchets from the mangonel, which means the trebuchets have to pack up or die. And oh, he gets the snipe. Are you kidding me? That's amazing. The castle still might not go up, but that keeps Viper's trebs alive.
Did he kill that with a trap?
He did. Yeah, the trebuchet hit it.
Wow.
But nearly... Viper is struggling. He will still hold on. I'm not sure that castle goes up, though. He doesn't have many vills around here anymore. It's a wasteland. It's just 2 trebs a castle. And bombard cannons can come out from Sebastian. The crazy thing is, he doesn't actually have a lot of gold income because he's focusing on water. But look at Viper. He has mangonels and rams. He's trying to bring across the river. And they've gotten... Well, 2 of them have gotten found by the fire. Viper's castle goes up. Sebastian out of stone.
Does Viper have a chance to get into chemistry here? Because bombard cannons might be the best choice for Sebastian to hold the top island.
Remember, we talked about it. Like, Sebastian isn't doing anything with his castle. Viper hasn't needed to push that at all. If Viper can get...
44 in gold. 44 in gold!
Why does this feel winnable for Viper if he can get Redemption Monks? Redemption Monk Trebs. Can he win this? Sebastian's got a crazy eco. Sebastian loses another bombard cannon to Viper's Trebs.
And Mamelukes could just dive, right? They can easily kill bombard cannons with melee damage.
And also, War Wagons should be pretty strong. Mamelukes are through for the Viper. Is this a comeback? The Mamelukes don't get the kills because of Sebastian's excellent repairing. Also still repairing his Treb. And Viper is also running out of stone, so he needs to hit the trebuchets from Sebastian.
So many monks now. Viper needs to invest more. Stone price now at 134. Not that cheap to repair this anymore.
Only 1,000 stone left on the map, and I think Sebastian just found some of it on the right side. Buying a keep to put that in front of his trebs would be key here. Then Viper's monks can't do the job, and I think Viper might just be running out of steam here, Nilly. I thought there was a chance, but the eco for Sebastian is so good. He knows Viper has redemption with the way that monk was just moving around. He just needs to not throw his units away here. And he converts the Mamelukes.
Both of them. And now the monks have to convert the Mamelukes back. And that also gets a bombard cannon in the back and gets the monks.
Oh, man. Okay. Keep is on the way. The Mamelukes will now actually take the bombard cannon from Sebastian. Viper now has a bombard cannon. And can he keep his castle up here? It goes down.
Only one trap. And he needed that for trap production. He only has 2 traps. He can't increase that number.
Yeah, but he could make bombard cannons. He could make... Well, he can't make monks either, actually. He can convert a cannon galleon.
Yeah, he got it.
Okay, well, if Viper just needs to convert everything Sebastian makes, he will never win water back, though, Nilly. It feels like the fire ships have been all around these shorelines, and there are trebs from Sebastian starting to focus on the southern island now.
Viper's building the castle at the bottom. Still no chemistry for him. Bombard cannons could help out so much in those fights.
He did complete chemistry, actually. So he does have 1 in queue, but he's super housed at the moment.
Yeah.
And Sebastian...
100 out of 90. Gets most of the traps, though.
Sebastian's got a crazy Vil count right now. The issue for him has just been what military he makes. Navy feels natural, of course, but this must be so annoying that Viper is hung around here. As he actually buys another castle. Viper knows he cannot lose this area and still survive, but he loses his monks.
No monastery. It feels like he needed 1 or 2 monasteries first. Tower could be really good. Viper has to cancel this castle.
Yeah, he'll lose his Treb Nilly. He'll lose his cannon. I think he'll lose control here. He'll lose his TC here. Sebastian will see that. Sebastian will also see that Viper's built a castle in the south, and this is Viper's home map. And his bombard cannon defense in the south, Nilly, will be denied because the siege workshop goes down. So Viper just even
80%.
further away from pushing this back, and more towers from Sebastian.
Another siege workshop, but that's in range of the traps again.
He has no space. He has no time. He will lose his bombard cannon in the north. Viper's completely dead. He's completely dead. This is Viper's home map. He wanted to respond. Maybe the map that Sebastian wouldn't be able to handle, right? Because it was the most banned map in group stage. Sebastian didn't pick it ever in group stage. And man, oh man, was Sebastian prepared. And what a game.
Highest unit built for the Viper was 9 monks. That shows you how massive the game was. We never could mass anything if it was on water or on land. Just crazy how they pushed each other around over and over again. And
that was
a beautiful sight.
That game, and hopefully the series is like this, but that game was like a boxing match that went the distance. And they were splitting rounds. Like, Viper, he kind of struggled at the start, but once he got some activity in the north, once he, defended at various points, was doing pretty good there. I can't help but feel like when it was very close, and when it was at its most insane, was when Viper transported those knights, while Sebastian also transported the towers. And Sebastian was able to notice the knights eventually and didn't take damage. And Viper certainly just had a lot more work to do because the towers were coming up. So,
yeah.
What a crazy game. Viper needs to win 2 straight to move into the quarterfinals. And Sebastian, he's done a lot of good things over the past 2 years. So maybe it's a jump to say biggest moment of his career to win a round of 12. But like, to beat the Viper when Viper's playing this good, it's got to be up there if he can do it.
Yeah, maybe one of the biggest when it comes to tournament performances, right? Probably his best performance ever was the crazy day, 3 days before the cutoff line for Red Bull, right? Where he went against the very best in the world and beat them like 14-2 in a single day and making the top 4 there, qualifying for the biggest tournament of 2024. Probably the biggest day. But when it comes to tournament performances, beating the Viper straight up.
So uphill battle for the Viper. Classic series already. We have Khmer for Viper. This was his #1 pick. But on the other side, we have a Civ that's been picked a lot on any closed map, but also in the group stage of this tournament. We have the Cumans. The expectation is 2TC Feudal Boom for the Cumans, the only Civ that can do that. And so it's just, that's always how you have to start off the cast. And then it's like, how do you beat it? And Nili, what are your thoughts on how Viper might see this here?
Typically, against humans, you have to find timings. One of the timings could be to attack before the human players reaching Castle Age. And Khmer is so good at attacking very early Castle Age because they don't need the upbuilding. So something like pop 25 plus 0 is certainly an option. Another timing would be just make it incredibly long, hope to constantly snipe the ESO of humans, and try to play with elite ballista elephants.
Yeah. Now, we've seen Khmer more on close maps this tournament than I think any other. I do remember in the past, people would try Khmer on Arena and whatnot, but it always felt like their late game just wasn't quite good enough to justify the eco lead that they could get. But whether it's because people were just playing double crossbow Scorpion more in general, or because of the recent changes to alt Scorpions, which just further buffed Khmer. Winchester did it. Tato did it. ACCM subsequently complained that Khmer are OP. And I'm inclined to agree. So, yeah, I guess it's a fine mix. I would just feel like you can't count Viper out if he can get TCs up so quickly. And it's so nice to be able, when you're worried about the 2TC of the Cumans, to be able to reach the castle time that the Khmer can do.
But also something nice for humans, because you play fast Feudal Age, you have the map control, right? Your scout will be out while the opponent won't have it. And maybe T90, you can refresh my memory. There are 2 shrines. What are we doing with those?
Yeah, so the shrines can produce priests, which are a slightly lesser version than a monk, even though they have more hair. And they can heal, which you see Sebastian doing now. So he's actually maximized his eco as best as he could by using the scout. And the priest can also pick up relics. They can also convert, sorry, so it's 5 range. So that's doable. But yeah, you can pick up the relics, bring them into your base. You cannot put relics inside of the shrine. So they are essentially just priest factories.
Priest factories. Okay. Sounds like a good name for a metal band.
Priest factories. Bro. Yeah, that sounds really good, actually. I got to write that down. You know, we have a list of band names that we keep between a couple of friends and my fiance. So anytime we're going, I think I told you this, Nili. We'll just, we hear something and we just say, great band name. I think you and I talked about this, and I said that Age of Empires has a lot of really good band names if you think about text and whatnot. Trying to remember your favorite, though. I think you said... I
wouldn't even remember.
I think you said...
There are some good ones.
Oh, you said... I know what you said, Nili.
Oh.
You said Attack Ground.
Oh... I would go to concert. Without knowing what music they're doing, I would go to Attack Ground.
Attack Ground. I mean, I would assume Attack Ground's not like jazz.
No.
But yeah, with my music taste, I would definitely go see Attack Ground.
Yeah. I think you would also like Arquebus.
Ooh, okay. That's decent. I like that.
I think they're doing some good indie.
Well...
Oh, Viper plays Fast Feudal.
Ooh.
1 on gold. He's contesting.
That's interesting. Well, if you think... I guess there's two schools of thought. If you think your civilization is better if the game is even in the late stages, you might not want your opponent to get the 5 relics, but at the same time, we're talking humans here. So they can get a massive lead against you if you delay your Castle Age. I'm not sure I'm in love with this decision.
I'm really surprised. Double lumber camp? Like fast castle won't work at all?
Why? Like,
Is
if
he
you want to
trying
go...
maybe go for like 2 scouts?
Like, if you want to go for scouts, can you not do that on the back of a fast castle anyways?
Oh, you will be late. I think you might already face 3 monks. Plus, yeah, he can always run around, right? Human scout a bit faster.
Interesting. Well, I've never seen this with the Khmer. We've seen Khmer played, but they've never gone for the feudal age approach. Viper won't move out with his scout.
Because look at he's trying to rush
A stable.
Yeah.
Right?
3 votes. Yeah.
I mean, just one of those situations where if this doesn't pan out, I'm like, you went first pick, right? Was this something prepped that worked before? It's certainly going to surprise Sebastian. Sebastian might think that uptime is slightly faster than what he's used to, and I don't think that Sebastian would have expected this.
Or slower, right? Because if you expect scouts, this is slower than it should be.
True. So it's in the middle. Yeah.
That makes it so weird.
Well, I wonder if Sebastian adapts his game plan. What I was going to say is that Sebastian would probably send a vill or 2 to gold to make another priest, and you can see 1 vill on gold now. But Sebastian has actually kept his priest in his walls, Nilly, and I think he must sense, based on the uptimes, that maybe it's not wise to move out there.
I think he's simply only now chopped out. Could that be an option?
No. Well, yeah, that's true.
Out.
That's true. Yeah. He might have just
11 minutes into the game. Yeah. So decision making is still. He is deciding, okay, I don't want to move out. I want to get some spearman protection first.
Do you not show Sebastian your other scout here if you're Viper?
What else would he do? There's no thing like Khmer feudal boom.
Yeah. Also, I think Sebastian should attack it and then heal instead of convert, because Viper will never give you the conversion. Well, unless he does that. Poof, that was a little close for comfort there.
3 scouts for the Viper. 4 on gold now. So he really wants to continue with the...
But Viper never chopped out. He never chopped out yet. Like, okay, he will in a second. False alarm. Now he's free.
That's way later. You see how Sebastian prioritized so much more.
Yep, absolutely. And the clock is ticking. Sebastian up 2-1. Sebastian knows Viper has additional scouts now, and he's booming on 2 TCs. And so usually I'd be thinking the Khmer player gets to Castle Age and gets to 3 TCs while the opponent's on 2 TCs. That is very far from the case now. Viper is extending this feudal age for himself against the civilization that probably prefers that.
In the 4th scout. Yeah, like typically, like playing feudal age against human that already has the 2nd town center is one of the worst scenarios. Goes for the priest.
Oh man,
doesn't commit.
That's crazy. I think Sebastian could have killed the priest. He didn't want to stay in there. He was underneath the gate, backs away, and really values every unit now.
Remind yourself, typically you want to trade off a scout 80 resources against a monk 100 resources, but a priest with only 75 resources, actually not that efficient anymore.
Yeah, that's fair. He does have the stable. So 2 scouts now. I don't think Viper's seen additional scouts yet. He saw the spears. He saw the OG scout. But I don't think he knows about this one. And Sebastian knows that Relic is gone because they're always in that line. He will look for that monk, or priest rather, and he'll get the kill. Now Viper finds out kind of the hard way. Sebastian, 43 vills. Viper just about to click up to Castle Age. This is going to be a significant vill lead for the Cumans. I'm just trying to remember what it would normally be. And Viper ejected the Relic into his base through the corner of the wall.
But the monk gets punished anyways.
Well,
yeah, nice move.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if that's me, I walk into my base, I get there maybe now, I drop it off, and yeah, I guess in the end it accomplishes the same result. But Viper, I'm not sure if he was 100% on if that would work or not, but it was a nice attempt and sneaky.
It might be a known thing. The Viper, he will continue with the double stable aggression. I don't think he will at town centers. This will be forward siege, full night play.
Yep, and Sebastian should recognize that, right? If you see a second stable, you should know that it's all in. And he actually idled his TCs immediately after gaining that knowledge. So he will wait, and he will aim to click up. Viper picks off the spears. I at least like this from Viper. I was questioning the whole build up until now. This gives you a crazy eco to pressure, and obviously humans need to be killed off quickly here. So this makes more sense. If he went into a straight boom here, I would really have to question how Viper's playing this.
3 options here for Sebastian. Worst one is go like triple barracks and try to make a pike defense happen. Another option, triple stable and try to constantly snipe the siege. Maybe go for some camels. Or send like 10 villagers on stone now and try to get a defensive castle up.
Yeah, I think it feels like Sebastian wants to go for option B there. Viper, uncertain. He went double Siege Workshop originally, and now goes for Siege Workshop Monastery, and Sebastian does not see that. So Sebastian's not expecting Viper to be in the middle. I feel like maybe he should, but he is really paranoid about the front of his base. You could tell he knows Viper's going to push through.
Look at the walls. I think he knows.
Yeah. And he sees Light Cav. This is where the cumin bonus of just getting that extra speed is really helpful. Husbandry for Viper shouldn't help him all that much. The Viper moves away. Viper does have those relics in his base. He is bringing a relic to the front, though. Viper, well, I mean, maybe in his mind, in his mind, this game is going to end regardless.
Yeah.
Based on if he kills his opponent. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. If he loses that monastery and that forward, the game is over.
Yep.
Anyways.
Yep. And you don't want to build another monastery, and it would waste a lot of time. So, yeah, I get the logic. Well,
Siege Workshop could have been built earlier by Sebastian. He waited for Castle Age. Human could have built it on the way to Castle Age already.
just, is this going to be enough for the Viper? He delayed his boom. He's pressuring. Viper will be out in the round of 12. We knew, like every other season of TTL, Viper was first moved into the quarters. But there was always a player that would be pushed into the round of 12 that you wouldn't have expected. And when that happens, we're always sitting here thinking they're so good to be in the round of 12. What happened? And it was the 9 wins in group stage. Put him up against Sebastian. And this feels like it could fall apart for Viper very quickly if Sebastian can be patient enough.
Uh-oh, Mangonel is out.
Mangonel is out. Lightcav dip through to kill the monks. And this is perfect micro from Sebastian. He may lose a unit to a conversion. But against this type of push, you want to take the siege. You want to take the monks. And he does that, at least so far. Viper's still coming with more. Also saved his monks nearly, critically, inside of his TC, Sebastian. So he can heal and convert when Viper adds knights.
Yeah, obviously only short distance convert. 200 HP on that stable. Sebastian takes another engagement. Camel's now the perfect counter to the Khmer.
Yep. More monks. Sebastian may need to delete his own walls. He does so. He wants those monks. He killed one. I can't really tell on the other. I think I hear it. There's no upgrades in armor for Sebastian right now. Or attack. He just has bloodlines, but he is holding, and he has a 20 villager lead still.
And now the castle. And the castle, if that one goes up, that's the end of the Viper's push. He needs to make something happen. Viper gives up his push. He adds town centers behind this.
Well, I mean, the current situation, Viper cannot break Sebastian anymore. He needs TCs. That's his only way. But it brings us back to what we said earlier about these relics and the game state that we were in. And just, it felt like if Viper didn't break Sebastian here, Sebastian was going to be able to run with it. 72 eco for Sebastian, 46 for the Viper.
Is there maybe an option to actually build some mangonels to kill all the houses at the front?
Yeah.
Some damage?
Yeah. I would say so. Nice conversion there for the Viper. He'll be happy with that.
Full Kip check now. Lots of people not really loving Kip check as a unit.
I'm
really
not
important for bloodlines. He already has it.
Yeah, I'm not one of those people. I've always been a Kip check enjoyer. But I can't tell you how fond I am of Kip checks if you're up against Khmer Scorpions. I think that could be really tough. But Sebastian just still sitting on these 2 TCs nearly. In theory, Viper with 3 TCs plus 4 relics could catch up here. And the Khmer late game is still really dangerous.
Yeah. If we get to the super late game, Khmer will be happy, right? He has the extra gold in the middle as well. Now adding a market, probably wants to go for a fourth town center even. Get some pressure out there. He's forcing reactions.
Yeah, really good for Viper. Also has lots of gold in the middle. Really needs a market to balance his eco. He does have that. Maybe you go super extreme here. Maybe you go up to like a fourth TC. It feels like there's that pressure on you when you're up against this boom. But still only 17 on food for Viper.
Tries to control the sides, but Camel clears up the left-hand side. Viper is running away. Expansion towards the stone, and it feels like Sebastian is thinking about a second castle even.
Can we talk about the patience from Sebastian? So many people get into this, if they were to get into this position against Viper, which is hard enough to do in the first place, they're like, this is my moment. Boom, and they pounce, right? And he's just like, well, I'll drop the third TC. I'll wait till I get greater numbers. I won't allow him to break in. I think you could make arguments that with Viper having the relics, you should pressure, but the relics are also right there. it's not far. Like, you take that position, the relics are just yours anyways.
But also, how would you even push out, right? 4 Scorpions of Khmer.
Yeah.
Lots of Knights by the Viper. He has a lot of vision. There were not a lot of options to go out, and now he tries to go out and could get punished.
Yeah, it's a very, very scary army right now. And you know Viper's also going to have vision on everything you do. Viper doesn't have it right now, but if Viper were to go for Town Watch, he would actually have a lot more vision from his buildings here. And I also think Viper should be getting ballistics here. With these Scorpions, you want to be hitting these shots. Oh, man.
Yeah, loses 1 Scorpion, now the second one. Those Knights are bad against the Monks.
Oh, that's so good.
Sebastian.
That's actually so good from Sebastian. He deletes his castle because he was happy with the fight, replaces it in kind of a suspect position, but again, he should get another conversion. His Mangonel will go down. The Light Cav will swoop in. The Light Cav will want the Scorpions, and Sebastian has to back off his castle for now. But Viper's losing his Knights. Viper is imping. I think Sebastian's castle should complete as long as those Scorpions get sniped, and Viper with the gates.
But not in time. Not in time. Scorpion's doing the damage against the Scorpions, but he wants to deny the castle, not to kill the Kipchaks.
That Viper maybe feels as though Sebastian is up, by the way. Humans typically, when they're sitting on that eco, will go fast imp. So if you're wondering why maybe the lack of army, I think in Viper's mind, he was expecting the 2 TC fast imp. That was not the play from Sebastian. And Viper's castle now will be denied. And this might be the end of Viper this season, Nilly. It's totally desperate times for the Snake.
Tries to go for a siege workshop. Another Scorpion just dies. That one was needed to get the castle up. Next castle for Sebastian.
Just the patience was so good to wait to strike for seemingly the perfect moment. Viper's got very little to work with right now. His vills will all be exposed. And he doesn't have the stone for another castle. I don't even know if he can complete it.
Can you build a castle in the middle, or is the statue blocking it?
I think the statue's blocking it. I've never actually seen it placed over the statue, so... GG. Viper congratulates him. Sebastian does it. He delivers just like he did in the group stage with 12 wins. And Sebastian moves on past the Viper, who played insane today. He'll be up against Hera in the quarterfinals. What a player, Nilly, Sebastian is.
Love to see all the aggression, right? He played so actively all those games, made life hell for the Viper, and was just overwhelmed. And Humans, well, his first pick, and it paid off. Viper threw his first pick against it and couldn't come up with the right answers.
Yeah, you know, and I agree. I think it's so easy now to maybe question the strategy and the fact that first pick went down. But it was first pick versus first pick, so those questions are always going to be there. And time again, I just got to commend Sebastian on his adaptability. His adaptability is so good. Viper showed something here that we had never seen before. We could have so easily been here applauding him for surprising Sebastian and killing the monks in the feudal age if Sebastian just did what he did every other time. But he didn't do that. He added spears and he added scouts and stayed competitive in the middle and also boomed, which wasn't something that you would normally feel to do here. I think he saw the feudal age time from Viper, correctly assessed that he needed more army out, and then held on and never got overwhelmed. And Nilly, I felt the same way throughout group stage. Actually, honestly, in group stage, it felt like he was just unkillable. But in the Pacific Islands game previously, so many different things were happening, and Sebastian was just still able to come out on top, even though it was a situation he may have never encountered before.
Yeah, impressive play by Sebastian. In this game, we said humans, you need to work with timings against them. We've seen Valessa, for example, finding a really good one there with Bohemians, missing, like denying all the other human timings. Here, the Viper's cast age time, a bit delayed by the 4 scout play. Whew.
And
so tricky to judge.
And I think a big factor, which certainly has played its role with, and it did in Gold League, and it did for some of these players in Platinum, is the level of prep. I actually have not even talked to Sebastian. Maybe he didn't practice a single game, but to me it feels pretty clear that there was a lot of preparation in terms of the draft and the approach. So maybe some of that's showing with Viper. I also don't know again, but it at least felt to me that Sebastian was good to go on every single map here. So he'll move on against Hera in the quarterfinals. Obviously, doesn't get easier for him. Hera's the reigning champion. Hera's had tons of back-to-back tournament victories, and I'm really excited for it. But round of 12, a treat. I don't know if Liquipedia is updated, but yep, here it is actually. So the quarters will be Leary versus Toe, Tato versus Dark, Hera versus Sebastian, and then Hart versus Nikov. So Nili, Yo, and the Viper going down in the round of 12 today.
Does that mean they are in all different groups in the next CTL season? That those 4 are in different groups and they will face 2 out of the top 8? Is that how seeding works?
It should be, because it's based on playoffs. So everyone who lost in the round of 12 should be in separate groups, I believe, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be the same for the quarters.
That will be a hell of a group. Just imagine, like Viper, he will have 2 of those other beasts in his group as well then.
Yeah.
Same for Yo.
Potentially. I mean, you're not really getting away from a tough group. But
well, if you make it into semifinals, right?
Yep.
You avoid the other 3 best players.
Yep. I'm sure that is not on their mind right now until they see the groups.
Yeah, and then they say like, "Oh, why is my group so bad?" Yeah, well, because he didn't perform last season.
Yeah, and it's the same deal. Oh, why Viper up against Sebastian round of 12? He wasn't able to lock down first in the group like Hart was able to do in that group, and that's why that matchup ends up happening there. So, man, exciting times for the scene. I don't think many people would have predicted maybe 3 or 4 of these players in the top 8. I think the 3 to me that stand out that most people might not have predicted in the top 8 would probably be like Dark, then maybe Nikov, and then, well, those are the 2 I think that many people might have not added. Maybe Sato, maybe Sebastian, then I guess. Maybe Hart. Obviously, Tato, Hera, Leary, probably all in people's top 8s, but sick.